Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video, we are going to continue the journey about the NIO package. Now we are going to talk about the basic file attributes. So in the previous class, we had a just quick run through how to change some information in the file, for example, set last modified time. And now we are going to see how we can use the basic file attributes to retrieve data based on the operating system. Now let's create a new class. Go all the way to Java core and the last package. We can copy the basic file attributes, Control C, Control V here, and just rename it to 2. And let me see what I'm going to keep. Only the file path, only this path. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now what we are going to do is get a basic file attributes object. How can we get that? Well, we do have the class responsible for almost everything that you can do with a file, and the same class can return for us the read attributes. Now, if you go to the read attributes method, you will notice is something that we didn't talk yet, is this a extend basic file attributes. So this is called generics, and what Java is going to do is return an object, and there is a rule that this object must pass the test is a basic file attribute. So how does the read attribute knows which object is going to create? Based on what we are going to pass as argument and on your operating system. For example, the first attribute is path. We have the path, that's the file path. Actually, just go to folder 2, just create a new file so we can new.txt. So we are going to use this one for simplicity. It will have the same creation date, last accessed, and so on. Now, the second argument is basically what kind of class do you want to have, because it's going to return based on whatever you pass here. So you could use the DOS file attributes, you could use the POSIX file attributes. If your operating system does not have the possibility to create, probably it will throw a runtime exception. But honestly, I'm not sure how it works behind the scenes. I never went that deep. But for example, what we are trying to achieve here is I want basic file attributes. And this, if you go into the documentation, saying that will return the basic attributes for the many file systems that are common, or the common attributes for many file systems. And as I said before, all the attributes, all the methods that we have here, they are read-only. They're not going to affect the file. So when you create a local variable, you can see the basic file attributes as type. Just create, keep the same name. And for example, if I change here to DOS file attributes, it works because DOS file attributes is a basic file attributes. So the polymorphism is working here. It passed the is a test. But for example, if I say here that this is DOS file attributes and here I change back to basic, now the polymorphism rule will not work because you have a more specific class as reference. Okay, now how do we read? What can we read? Well, there are several methods. For example, you have is directory, is regular file, is symbolic link. You can read the documentation for each one of them to understand. But to keep things simple, I'm just go with the basic dates that we have in that file. So the first one is creation time. The second one will be last modified. Well, we can do the following. Last modified, just press Ctrl D. So last modified, Alt Enter, introduce local variable, last modified time, and this one will be last access time. Introduce local variable, last access time. Okay, so everything we need. Let's just print this data. Creation time plus creation time. Control D, Control D. Just replace some values. Nothing special. Pretty boring work. And let's execute. Shift F10. And we have file already exists because it should be Control Shift F10. I executed the previous class. So Control Shift F10 to execute this class. And now you have the time for creation last modified and last access time exactly the same. Be careful because the file time returned is on Zulu time. It means UTC time zone, and I am on Amsterdam, so it's 1 hour ahead. That's why we have 1643. So pretty straightforward. Now I want to show you the object. Just put a breakpoint anywhere and press Shift F9. So as you can see, the basic file attributes has an object that's the type of Windows file attributes. So it knows that my operating system is Windows, and then we have this object. Now, if you are on Mac or if you are on Linux, probably the attribute will be completely different. F9 to resume the program. Okay, so now that we know how to read, how can we actually change? So to change, you have to check one of the classes that have view in the name. So for basic file attributes, you have basic file attributes view. For the DOS, we have those file attributes view. For POSIX, have POSIX file attribute view. So basically, when you don't have the view, it's read only. When you have view, it means that you can do some changes in that file. Now, let's do some changes. For example, first we need to actually get an object that is basic file attribute view. Through the files, we have get file attribute view. The same thing, path, and then the object that we want. I will get the object that is a basic file attribute view. The object itself doesn't matter. I'm only worried about the is a basic file attribute view. So as long as it passes that is a, I'm happy. That's why I'm adding here basic file attribute view. Now that we have this, we can update through file. Well, let's see what we can update. I think the times file attribute view dot set times. I think this is the only method. Okay, we have name here. That's just going to return the name, and then we have probably we are going to use this one. Okay. So basically, it's saying if we do not want to change the times, we just pass null. Pretty interesting. So let's use this one. Let's say I want to change the last access time. Now, if I don't want to change the last modified, no. Last access is what I want to change. Creation time, I don't want to change. Now, for the last access time, what can we do? We can do the following. We need a file time. All of these, they are file time. They are not date time or local date time. So file time, new last access, and now file time dot from millis. Basically, I just want the time that I have now in my computer, so I'm going to use system dot current time millis. This is going to return the time that I have now available in my operating system. Okay, so I get this new last access and I add here. Now, if I copy this, we are going to have a problem. First, this is reading from the object that we created on line 16. By the time we changed the object on line 27, we are not reading this data again. Basically, if I execute now, I will get exactly the same value. we have to reread this data. So whatever we have here, so from this, so if you hold your mouse wheel, you can do block selection. Pretty cool, huh? And Control C, and you can add here Control V. But we still have a problem. The basic file attributes is the one that we created here. We need an updated object. Fortunately for us, the basic file attribute view object can return a basic file attributes. So here we can do the following. You can select this one, you change for this object, oops, Control C, Control V, and then you call read attributes. And read attributes, as you know, is part of basic file attributes, and we have creation time, last modified, and last access. You just have to copy this and replace here. So we didn't change the last access, the last modified and creation time, but we are going to print anyway. And here, let's just add separator. Now let's execute again, Control Shift F10. And you can see the creation time is exactly the same, last modified is exactly the same, but the last access is different because it got from the current time from my operating system. So basically that's how you play with basic file attributes, basic file attribute view, and the behavior is exactly the same for all the other classes. But we still have more stuff to talk about in the NIO package. So let's continue in the next video. See you there. Bye.